Welcome to our lovely future humans, our 5D collective, to the cosmic heart, conscious leaders, the real regulated ones. FYI, I help people to stay true to themselves with smart micro-habit frameworks. That way they can navigate their survival defensive loops in the way that is, self-compassionate honesty, because we all get emotionally in our buttholes. We all have children inside of us. And study empowering composure using the somatic resource of yours and the mindset resource of yours, because with the micro habit of being yourself, the essence of you doesn't get lost. So we're seen, soothed, safe, and securely attached human beings are the 5D collective. And with our cosmic heart, I have messages, because our 8-8 portal was amazing and I didn't get to share all of the messages. So as someone who helps people, again, to stay true to themselves, I have no issue telling the truth, meaning telling you things the way they are. Now, I'm talking about the embodied brain, because I do personal growth and spiritual growth. So there are those who don't know how to do real-time somatic micro habit mindset shifts, because they're not able to use their autonomous self-regulation skills yet. Okay, so pause yourself. You want to know how to ventral pivot, otherwise you can't be stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable. So the SMART framework won't help you because you have no baseline. And you won't be able to do level 1 or level 2, the subsomatic mindset micro habit, like with the earthquake where it's up, there it is, and my body still did the whole thing that it is going to do, but I wasn't navigating a reactivity in a way of doing anything that was dangerous to myself or others, like running down the stairs, going out in my underwear, which, I mean, hey, if ever I had to, I would, but I probably won't, because I know how to follow directions. So the fake composure people, the ones who are faking it, they wear a mask, and so they don't know how to navigate the fear that comes within their embodied brains. Okay, so we're going to talk a little about that. Again, those of us who are stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, that's why we handle those human element things, the 5 core wounds. Okay, so let me share the message that came through, and then we'll continue chit-chatting. And I'm going to have stories, and I'm going to use papers. And, oh, by the way, no monster inside of anyone, just so you know. God's perfection exists in every one of his children, but obviously there's free will. Scientists, some say there's not, and they also like to tell us that everything is a chance. And then I think of Louis Pasteur's quote, chance favors the prepared mind. So when you're epistemically curious, disciplined, and diligent, you will know why I'm disgusted by all of adaptive child part people. They could use terror, and I said the word disgust, which our emotions, all of the basic ones, served our species, biologically speaking, to survive. So disgust, like berries that are poisonous. Yes, and I like to interject with different stories, so please stay tuned until the end, because this is a storyteller and an educator, but I'm not a therapist. I do personal growth, spiritual growth, so you can grow yourselves only with ventral pivoting. And I'm sorry that you might be irritated by this, but I need to spell it out, because there's a bunch of fakers out there. So those who betray us, lecture us, they're really annoying. I was a teenager too, and I remember when someone said, you don't do what we tell you to do, and I was like, oh, you're so right, thank you for pointing it out. I didn't want to be a hypocrite. So what was it? Traumatized clients often have trouble regulating by themselves, but they also have trouble seeking others and taking in the support and regulation of others. Thank you, Pat Ogden. So when someone doesn't know how to self-regulate autonomously, they don't know how to keep it calm. So my friend who ran out in his underwear, he's hilarious. And I said, but you know you're not supposed to run out in your underwear. That's like, and there's buildings that could fall on you. Like, and he's like, no, but my mezzanine. So I was like, oh, he has a bad roof. So he's afraid of the roof crashing on him. And he said, I thought everyone would run out in their underwear. And then I saw I was the only one. I was like, yeah, because, well, I mean, anyways, this is the part of where some people think that, you know, wearing underwear or not is important at night. And I'm just like, you know, I don't want to die, but I'm not going to be concerned. So hypervigilance, we don't have to do it that way. Okay, so I'm going to pause myself. So those who betray us, they lecture us. And they are adaptive child part who could use terror, so they could stop doing the right-wrong thing. Also, remember, sensations, images, behaviors, affects, meanings. Thank you, Peter Levine. When you can contain them, and that means you have dual awareness. So you ventral pivot. So when the earthquake hit, I was like, no, I was actually recording. And then I had to move, and my recording didn't come. It was hilarious. So tune into those other episodes. The 8-8 portal is doing great. as always, all of the ascension energies. So let me pause as I help spiritual and conscious regulated leaders understand how the future is made by those of us who committed to shot through the heart and no one's to blame. No one can ruin the love game because there's no playing a game that is disgusting. And so disgust supports us not to eat poisonous stuff. What is an adaptive child part? Insecure, reactive, not safe for the herd. Out, you're out. As a teenager, you're out, you're out, you're out. Maybe means you're out because that means you don't have what it takes. And here's my judgmental asshole. Now, I want you to understand fear. I have bountiful of it. I have the scaredy cat in me. You can name it, which is why I can thank my environment for being able to ventral pivot, my mother for helping me to work with my 0-8-year-old and to learn then by the time I was an adolescent how to handle backstabbing liars and assholes who are all cowards to this day, who I don't have an issue with. Because see, living half a life inside, not only as Sadhguru points out, it's called torturing yourself. Yeah, I know what pseudo-aliveness is. And when people get on a screen and put grief on a pedestal and they're doing the pseudo-alive thing, I'm like, self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart. That don't look good in the midline. I know what it is. It's a gnawing thing. I'm so sorry. This is just going to make me cry. Oh my gosh. And then I cringe at the fact of differentiate. It's okay. Somatic countertransference. There's no cooties. I don't need to cut cords. I just need to remember they're an insecure person who doesn't know that they didn't learn. Wait, what was it? Traumatized clients. Oh, so sorry. Thank you, Pat Ogden, for grounding me in reality and making me compassionate. Where are you, Peter Levine? When we can feel our body as the container, then the emotions and the sensations do not feel as overwhelming. They're being contained. So please do understand, those who are creating, as we speak, unnecessary suffering, and they're doing all the injustice, disgusting shit, they are already, and the people who don't like to hear it, I'm like, hey, Ursula's cauldron is full of a bunch of seaweed from The Little Mermaid. Are you wanting to join them? Because that's exactly what's going to happen if you don't understand what unhealthy, self-righteous frequency is. It's those who betray us, lecture us. So teenagers have this attitude. Adaptive child part 2. And that's called grandiose manners. So they're insecure because they also didn't get treated right, and that's from their infancy. So the 0-8-year-old needs to have an emotion mature human being parent, a third attunement repairing rupture. And anybody who is emotion mature, which is why I support those who are conscious leaders. So you want to use the SMART microhabit frameworks because you do navigate your own survival defensive loops. And you don't intend on giving up on yourself and your ventral vagal state because Deb Dana's all over the place telling people how easy it is to map out. No, she's helping the ones who want to learn how to map out their nervous system. Anchored is a really great book. I already know how to do it. Okay, so I didn't make fun of my friend who ran out of the house with his underwear. That's fine. The other friend of mine who's like, you were so calm. I'm like, no, I wasn't calm. I just didn't freak out. And then my life partner was like, well, that's probably what they meant by calm. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not calm. That's just me not freaking out. Calm would be where I'm like, la 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 la, and my body wouldn't have taken a hit where my hips started to hurt, and then I got a panic attack 4 or 5 days later. But for all we know, it's the ascension energies. I was not calm. I was just grounded, and that's why being anchored. So when you learn from smart therapists what it is to use your nervous system effectively and you use stress, it's great. Okay, the people who don't know how to do this, I'm not here for them. They need therapy first. That's why they need to admit it's a problem that you cannot autonomously self-regulate because you're going to run out in your underwear and then you're going to create potential. I love my friend. He's so cute. Oh, and then the other ones that were also all in the middle of the street, they stayed out. I'm like, okay, you all seem to not understand how this works. But hey, then again, the entire system is kind of failing us because they're organizing an event that is going to be huge in an area that is realistically, are we sure you want to do this? Like, are you smart? Obviously you're not. Because if you were a smart economist, a smart anything, you'd kind of have things under, like, you know what I mean? So here's the part about intelligence. It's mentally maturing with the emotional capacity to discern, your own effective realism, and also to not think the past can work. Oh, did you tune into the episode? If you need things to be last minute, the fire thing, I forget what the title was, but yeah, so people who are reactive only once shit hits the fan, that's stupidity. It's called insecure people who are not noticing their survival defensive loops and their really, really bad habits. So Peter Pan goes and fights Hook, and the Lost Boys go and fight Hook, and then they get on Pinocchio's Island. Okay, so trauma is something that happens deep in the core of our brain and our body. Now, this is either Peter Levine or it is Pat Ogden. No, this is Ruth Lanus. Okay, there maybe. I have a lot of quotes. Okay, so I don't remember which one it is. But with that being said, trauma impacts the body so strongly, and the responses that the body has are often not metabolized. So people get stuck in trauma time. They can't move on from it until those responses are metabolized. Which is why someone telling me that they can get over their trauma by themselves or with some coach, no, you can't, because they actively are not going to walk you through the 9 domains of integration. But furthermore, they're not actively prepared enough and skilled enough in their brain because they don't have a college degree in that which is the psychotherapy and all that. And I look forward to the entire community of the good therapists to come together. Meantime, I know they also work with their colleagues, some of them which actually should be removed from the group. Yes, I am speaking those words. There's one human being who I've noticed continues to be involved in a lot of different groups, and they are the same one who said, narcissists are unhealable, and my colleagues are all against me. And I'm like, you should take that back and actually admit that you still have an issue with narcissists and that you're not being very nice to an entire community and group of people who are treated like little pieces of shit. So when I see what is wrong with the world, it will usually involve those who betray us, they lecture us, and then they don't notice their judgmental asshole. I have mine. She doesn't like anyone who lies to me and anyone who points a finger to my brothers and sisters because it is personal. I speak of all humans being equally lovable, and the ones who are deemed the most unworthy of love are the ones who need it the most, and none of those who are in flesh are it. Which is the one thing that gets Kali going. Then Shiva comes in and Krishna Lila is like, God, do something about these people. And then he says, free will. And I'm like, but no, we want safety. We want intelligence, please, God. And he says, it'll be okay. And I'm letting you all know it will be okay. I've seen cosmic karmic balancing. Oh, it ain't pretty. Oh, I know it's happening as we speak because I also see the choice points of all the countries. No, I just don't speak about it with y'all. Oh, hey, here they are. Hey, commanders-in-chief, come on over. So I have news. You remember I told you about Atlantis? I found out some more shit. So anyways, let me get back to our messages. Those who betray us, they lecture us. Those who reject us, they try to shame us. It doesn't really work. They're there now. You're rejected. By who? The ignorant ones who betrayed their calling. Let me see once again. What is it? Every word you utter, every action you take, your very existence. Is it for everyone's well-being or is it just about you? Thanks, Sadhguru. Well, sometimes I share with you all my frustrations. So I try to make it obvious so you can understand when the messages are in, and it's food for thought, please. But when I'm also sharing Maria's subjective opinions, meaning my very strong emotions, which aren't irrefutable facts, which is why I'm aware of my own effective realism. And as a 3-year-old, I want the entire earth to get along because it would be really great. And that's why I'm a child inside, and that's why I have the capacity to admit. I'm not the donkey will fall out of the sky, but hey, for all I know, it could fall out of the sky. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Thank you, Lao Tzu. And that is why we get to be and do. It's a fun world to be a hybrid, the best of both worlds. Spiritual science and grounded in reality. To be able to say, yes, thank you, Sam Harris. My charitable beliefs could be all falsifiable. In the meantime, I'm a securely attached, healthy, self-worth woman who helps people with digital products so they can continue doing them and being them. And then noticing the same disgusting, insecure human beings and just leaving it alone because thanks, Therapy Nutshell Lady. We know how to handle them. I'm sure that the way the lady with her method is doing things is going to be obvious because that's called your left is working with you, and I will know you're actually trying to handle me. I won't like it, but I'll be okay with it, and I'll ignore it because the psychology Buddhists inform me of the right silence. And really, I learned as a teenager, those who betray us lecture us, and I want to be the know-it-all, and I really don't want to waste time with epistemically lazy people because they bore me to death. And then they disgust me to death. So, abandon. Yes, those who abandon us, they tend to blame us or lack taking accountability. And they tend to seem to not notice they're avoiding emotions completely. That's not funny. You realize people have issues with emotions the minute they don't know how to face you. Do you know what a face-off is? I'm an empowered divine feminine, did I mention? And I'm an empowered divine masculine. So when someone that I think is empowered doesn't know how to have a face-off, today I thank the therapist for informing me what happens when you look in the eyes of someone who has a bunch of trauma charges that come up. And that's why it's good that I know how to disengage and leave it alone. Those who humiliate us, well, they actually humiliate themselves with their ignorance and their grandiose manners and their AKA immature, disgusting, bullshit stuff. The other day I was walking with my niece and we were speaking in English, and this car with a bunch of, they're not men. I can't wait for real men to be around. Terry Real, thanks for doing a great job, and all the real men out there, because these they just started being dorks. And my niece was like, why are they doing that? Like, because some people are just stupid. I have no explanation for stupidity except for they got some shit went down as children. They didn't get taught how to be emotionally aware, mature, and then to use their brains to learn material like knowledge, and then to be okay with different stories and different knowledge. In fact, actually, excuse me, let's remember those who are, how dare you use all the words in the book? And no, there's no witch hunts. Please stop, because as long as we keep on bringing the past alive like that, excuse me, where are my manners? 3D, 4D are going to stick around. Unsteady self-image, and they have suffering, and they don't notice that they have mustard on their chin, as Dr. Daniel Fox presents. So there are those who will stay in their suffering, insecure bodies, and we can't do anything. But believe me, they don't know what they're doing, and they can't represent a threat. One, because God doesn't abandon his children. Cosmic karmic balancing always takes place. That's the spiritual stuff. Humanly speaking, because they're so moronic that someone, no, more than just someone, is intelligent, probably even more than what I'm speaking to right now, and can spot everything that I spot a mile away. And they all get together with brilliant people. So it's a smoke and mirrors for the ones who think that that which is disgusting could ever win, or could ever present a threat, or that it's being ruled by some puppeteer master above. Yes, I know the people who think of conspiracies, they're hilarious. So injustice, they negate the suffering that they are creating in the world and the pain, and they justify it with their lost boys and lost girls. So when you see two groups against each other, remind yourself they actively don't notice that their justification is not a solution. Their reactivity is not a solution. But above all, their hurrah, hurrah is completely obvious to those who are equanimous. So again, you don't run out in your underwear, not because we're ashamed of underwears, because they give you directions on how to handle earthquakes. As for the body, it takes the hit, and then panic attacks come around. You don't have shame of it. You also don't need to get over it quickly, but you'll know if you have a window of tolerance that you're moving into one of welcome, because it gets easier. And I hadn't had a panic attack in a while. And there were a couple more variables that I actually, in my mind, the left, which is logical, knew. My twin had had a panic attack, and we're twinsies, identical, so sometimes that stuff has happened. Then I was really bad with my diet for a couple days, like really bad. And I was like, that could have triggered that. And so with that being said, the earthquake also, obviously, I could have just had a bunch of fear in my bones. Oh, because we're also somatic empaths. I picked up on my neighbor, I picked up on them everywhere, but it's not cooties. So again, you don't actually be afraid of picking up on people's nervous systems. You understand how it processes, the body processes trauma charges. And so it allows itself to clean itself out. That's the beauty of biology, and scientists prove our perfection, the healthy kind, and that there's no demons inside of anyone. So when God did create us, and those who want to say, how dare you say you're a speck of it, divinity, speck of energy, you whatever you want. If you're that picky with words, I think you have a problem. The control thing, you want us to speak like you do. I don't want to speak like you do. I actually don't think I have to at all. Actually, those stories that you're telling are really old news at this point. So there comes a time with everyone who is spiritual where you will understand the divisive people are not powerful. They came at a time, they served their purpose. If they had been honest with themselves and actively fulfilling their calling, then they would have continued to do that which is the purpose of all spiritual ones. As the Dalai Lama made the call out, we all were here to teach compassion, and that's what we're still here to do, and we will succeed, and science will help us because that's what they're already doing. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel. So those two levels of compassion that the Dalai Lama mentioned to Dr. Daniel Siegel, one equals that mother or that attachment figure. So once you're your true essence, you'll know how to be compassionate towards any human being on the face of this planet. And when you see shame, you don't do let me shame you. Do you do? I can love you. I can show you a world. Na, na, na. And then you think of Peter Levine as he explains that broken wing of the bird means they're going to head in the cave with the cat because you're not real and they're scared shitless of you. And that's not logical. It's actually biological, and they're not a demon. They're a scared poor infant who was terrified, and it is saddening beyond. But Jesus, I cried my eyes out for a bunch of people who will not one day shed one tear in an actual genuine way, because you need to know what happened to you in order for you to be able to claim ownership, to not feel ashamed of the shit you've done, and then to say, wow, I was set up to fail. Okay, but wait, they were all set up to fail. Oh shit, everyone who's not knowing how to navigate their survival mode is set up to fail. The minimum energy mode, the fake regulated leaders, they were set up to fail. Oh my gosh, look at that. They were all set up to fail. By who? Well, they didn't get a third attunement repairing rupture, so technically the home. Ay, ay, ay. Has anyone watched the second Zootopia? When I watched it, the ending, I was quite like, what? Okay, this is not great, because you just ended without showing that that person is a pathology. They needed therapy. So did the entire family, and they actually brought forth all of that which are maladaptive patterns of behavior to be welcomed by the same family that treated them like little piece of shit. Yes, I do know we need one securely attached figure. That's why the scientist will free anybody who wants to be freed from that which is a body that was never meant to suffer life, and a mind that was never meant to suffer itself. So when you get spiky, you are at home with the somatic mindset microhabit practices that I offer and that you already implement, because that's the point. Somatic resource, yours. Embodied brain, yours. And grace, yes, we give with grace and gratitude. And the spiritual ones who want to continue with monster stories, shame on them for not noticing how science proves life is a mystery. No, they prove a lot of things. In fact, science continues to be one step into that direction of what spiritual ones also know about, which is why it's not a competition. Spirit has a plan. We don't need to decide 50-50. We don't need to decide which one is better, because that's the whole point of when you're singing your own song and you know that there's abundance for all, you will dream your life into being. And that is why we are talking about empowered journeys at IHP. The Inspired Human Potential, because you were motivated to be yourself. And now you continue to maintain that motivation. That's through your own embodied brain, because every 24 hours counts, because life is a gift. It's called a miracle. Now, those who do not enjoy the there's no purpose. I have temperament and personality patterns. I know my motivation. Do you know yours? And so this is, once again, I'm not going to motivate you to autonomously self-regulate. You're going to have to know how to do it. I don't motivate you to choose to turn the other cheek. Blessed are those who believe without seeing. To not cast a stone. To remind yourself you're not it. And it doesn't matter what word you use. You're in flesh, so we are flawed. And we maintain humble. Humble beginnings, humble endings. Nobody's gonna die rich, because nobody's taking shit when they go and whatever, okay? And oh yes, I do believe in reincarnation. I will be back. I'm not a terrible twos though, and nobody is a terrible twos, but those who do maintain their terrible twos, it gets hilarious as it shows through every inch of their pores whenever they're making up bullshit, as they twist their words and manipulate themselves, and the entire flock of lost boys go ahead with Peter Pan and continue. And I'm just like, how many dumb people do we have out there? As if they haven't noticed pathologies on a wheelhouse. This is no, it's not a problem, excuse me. Made for the people, by the people. So is it really unjust to see things happen in specific places when I know the people of a lot of countries? Yes, I've always noticed, well, hey, made for the people, by the people. I don't need to lift a finger, because I do personal growth and spiritual growth. I do have a bachelor's in political science, but I chose not to go down that path. God had plans for me, and that is true. I chose to support people to be fulfilled when I grew up, and that's what I'm doing right now. And so those who betray us, again, they lecture us. Those who reject us, they try to shame us. They're not successful. Those who humiliate us, they humiliate themselves through their ignorance, through their grandiose manners, through their disgusting everything. Those who will continue with their injustice and justifying it, they will suffer the consequences. That's because cosmic karmic balancing always takes place. In the meantime, inside of their bodies, they are lost souls who navigate that which are the wastelands. And wastelands is not fun. So Ursula's cauldron, cosmic karmic balancing again. So there's no need for any of those who are spiritual to lift a finger. Those who like to think that without them, we would not be moving into the future are called savior complex people. Those are spiritual bypassers and or somatic bypassers. And they are still trying to save their own selves, their 0-8-year-old, which is why they play with the other teenagers. We're right, you're wrong, hurrah, hurrah. And the flat earthers are doing great at doing what they do best. Continuing to be mediocre. I'm sorry, flat earthers, I don't mean to offend you, but choosing convenience over everything. I don't like ignorant people. They're really not fascinating, and I do not enjoy those who want to bring to me, what is it called? Bad habits. So every 24 hours count, and the future of who you are the habits, the thoughts, the interests, and what you will occupy your time with. Now, let me share. The person you will be tomorrow depends, first of all, do you know how to autonomously self-regulate? This is very important because your fulfillment comes from that. And let me answer that lovely question. Is life experience the primary source of wisdom? Okay, so the human secondary consciousness, people have a dilemma, apparently, according to the therapist, with this motivation. I don't have a dilemma. I have never had a dilemma, Maria. So I'm telling you, I'm a judgmental asshole. I acknowledge it. I try to remind myself that not all people know how to autonomously self-regulate. I know who the digital products serve, and I know who I serve as a consultant, mentor, and content creator because I know what I want in life. And I never have had any questions of it. This is what empowerment looks like, and then it feels like this when you meet those who are shamed and humiliated and betrayed and rejected and went through injustice. Excuse me, you want me to let you keep your trauma? Did you just say that you want me to let you keep your trauma when I know what happened to your 0-1-year-old, your 2-year-old, your 3-year-old, your 4, your 5, your 6, your 7, your 8-year-old, the child version of you? You want me to allow you to keep that which was never meant to be yours? Oh, I'm sorry, spiritual bypassers. You want me to blame a demon for it? No. No. I will not be blaming anyone. I will say, When we learn to read the body and track its language, that's the somatic narrative. It's the narrative of the body. The verbal story is secondary to the somatic narrative because the body really speaks and can't be deceived by minds. Furthermore, I'm a somatic empath. I don't give a shit if you want to dysregulate the entirety of your life, but to tell me from your mouth that you want me to let you keep your trauma, I just know I got a teenager in the room who's spiting their own home, basically not wanting to meet the 3-year-old, so you're telling me you want me to let you do harm to yourself. I'm not twisting my words. Now, this is why I tried to explain. I don't do, let me tell you a fairy tale. I learned all about what happens in the body of people. The fact that someone will speak words as such and have a certificate and or more and continue to do this shit, I'm like, who are you? You're not helping. Say you want to stay that way because you've grown used to whatever stuff. But please, this is not a good example for the children. And hello, narcissists are healable, and you're not helping anyone when you say, "My can't stand against me." And so please, are you done? Because who are you serving? Your story or people to heal and to get better? And so it's not hard, but guess how many people are faking it? Oh, I really am irritated today, as you can tell. But I'm also irritated not in a way of I know what's right or wrong. I know what is right and wrong in the sense of data tells me why people will bring up a story. Stephen Porges, shame actively brings a story to itself. The teenager is basically not spiting itself, as Janina Fisher would point out, and all the others. It's that they're terrified to go in, which is where the strength card, the 8-8 portal again, and the lion. So people who don't want to get to know themselves, I will need to leave it alone because that's how weak they are. See, they were strong when they were children. Now they're weak, and their mind is disgustingly making up shit in their head. And when you see a man who thinks he knows what strategy is, playing Russian roulette, and shit comes out of his mouth, you think, how many people are going to buy into this crap? Oh, a bunch of epistemically lazy human beings who already in high school are lazy, and in college, and then they continue to play Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. So in fantasy land, those fake regulated leaders continue to create groupies, which make me think of fraternities and sororities, which I never looked at and thought, oh my God, how amazing. I thought, excuse me? You think it's amazing that they locked you in a room, made you do this yucky shit, and what? And you're talking about it like it's some amazing shit. Well, hazing, it's illegal because it hurts people. What? You think that's cool? Huh? I think you don't know what you're meant to do with our world. Like, why are you wasting your life away? Like, this is ridiculous. You're letting people shame you. Like, what? You're okay with people treating you like a little piece of shit? Because, see, that's how I would want to talk to any of these people who want to tell me they think they're badass. There's no badass. This is not badass. This is actively not only moronic, it's disgusting. As I get older, I don't think of it being social media's problem. No. Nope. Transgenerational trauma. Thanks, Patrick Chan, for everything you do. So when someone doesn't notice themselves and their maladaptive patterns of behavior, it's called transgenerational trauma. They're passing down the baton. You can't make someone go and heal themselves, and you can't make them understand what you're speaking, because they will look at you and say, I'm doing great. I'm as healthy as can be after 8-10 beers, and this is a human being who fell the week prior on the floor, almost hurt himself, him and a woman together, and they were being really aggressive with people who are trying to help them. And people are like, oh, but everybody who goes to pubs, I go to pubs, I don't get like that. The other extreme, how can I escape reality without drugs and alcohol? Okay, dude, it's just the fact that you want to escape reality and not go to therapy. There's a bunch of therapists who are offering their services for free online, helping anyone who wants to get better. So let's allow ourselves, with a hand on my heart, I love all of humanity. I know everyone can choose to be their higher self. If, on the other hand, they want to play mediocre, they can continue doing that. They won't get far. The ones who think that they are saviors of the world don't need saving. Also, you're playing a bigger role than what you were given, meaning they're in ego land in a way of a grandiose asshole. There's no need for any of spiritual or scientific ones to do anything, because this is the part of what intelligence knows. We're not reactive. Conscious leaders are able to observe the entire spectrum of that which is a globe, and with all of the subject matters be able to hold it in, because our brain don't fall out our asshole, because it doesn't require genius to be able to learn things. It requires interest and curiosity. And so with that, wisdom comes from being consistently curious about all that takes place. So the question is, life experience the primary source of wisdom? No, because the life within you is not here to serve your body, mind, or emotion. The body, mind, and emotion are here to serve life. But that word is abstract, isn't it? And so here's why, as a spiritual one, I will always say, I don't want to get too philosophical. And as a person who has studied social sciences and humanities on purpose, because I do love to make a difference in people's lives. Number one, nervous system sovereignty. Then you will continue ascending. Number two, if you have trouble with your emotional plane, good therapy first. Then you can do the smart micro habit practices, and you'll be using personal growth, spiritual growth. Until that day, people who think of demons from the sky, I understand. I'm a channeler and downloader. When they have been in my sphere and I've navigated different planes, it's not scary. And when people actively hear stories and then they twist it, I'm sorry. I told one of my astral travel, which all of you know, and it is the future Earth. We're getting ready to leave. And it's very calm and collected, because, see, humanity doesn't go backwards. It goes forward. Intelligence doesn't go backwards. It moves forward. Science and spirituality are never at odds in any of the timelines prior, nor will it be in the future, because this is the point of why walk like an Egyptian, the spiritual ones that are enlightened and enlightening understand how to do and be. We don't struggle with the uncertainty, because my 3-year-old, like everybody else, wants to be safe, seen, secure, and welcomed. I just want to be Maria. And I am. I have never pretended one day, because that just feels so fucking painful. And that's when Kali comes up, and then Shiva and Krishna Lila. Here, Krishna Lila, excuse me, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Mwah. And being rejected doesn't make me mad, it makes me sad, but then I remind myself who betrayed their calling first, and it's the people who continue with the Adam and Eve story and the evil and devil and demon story, and they can continue with their stories because they serve the small-minded human beings who are epistemically lazy, who have charged narratives, who are disgusting to me and are ignorant because they are ignorant. And I don't think of it as you have to suffer life. I think, no, that's a choice, actually. And scientists, the brilliant ones, are all able to handle every single bit of everything but the brilliant ones. like the spiritual brilliant ones, which is why we're not at odds with each other, which is where the only ones who are going to be at odds with each other are the same ones we laugh about, not behind their back. We just laugh and say, you know what, you made a very valid point. I'm so sorry. Where are my manners? I know we all count, all 8 billion. So as long as it takes, you are my person. Yeah, we're going to talk about love in a minute, but karma, suffering, awareness. Yes, people might not notice that when you're choosing the path of least resistance, in the case of those who have insecurities, they're choosing their own downfall. Distress doesn't lead you to healing. Also, it doesn't lead you to be a smart strategist. It doesn't lead you to anything. And anyone who does occupy a professional role, such as myself, that is conscious, will lead their group to that which is brilliance. Policymakers, researchers, those who are professionals, we get together and we speak of where we're headed and we create the future. And that's why the systems also will be updated, because it's made for the people by the people. As now we are aware of what emotional intelligence actually is, we also understand why mental intelligence comes only if you have emotional intelligence, as otherwise you're going to be reactive with, I might see, well, it is right, it feels right, effective realism. So, is life experience the primary source of wisdom? My personal take and experience is that you learn from being consistently curious about all that takes place. So again, you have autonomous self-regulation skills. You do know it's a 50-50. Nothing is a certainty. My mother would tell me that always. And no, it isn't fun. Being in an earthquake is not fun. Being in a system that doesn't know how to take care of us, not fun. When some people say, well, people need to take care of themselves, well, then I should have no government anywhere. Because if I need to take care of it all by myself, then why do I have you? I'm going to then create a bunch of people. Okay, let's all get together because apparently we do it great by ourselves. Okay, so it's always going to be in the middle, which is where we don't have to do the let me get in people's faces. It's a way of logic and heart. And so someone in spiritual bypassing community likes to give people big roles. I actually spot the fact that our species goes through societal change. And that's because I'm a humanities and social sciences person. And so if you remember, there's a book I read to you all, well, some parts of it, not all of it. Reality is socially defined, but the definitions are always embodied. That is, concrete individuals and groups of individuals serve as definers of reality. And so this is the part of this book, Societal Change, something like that. I forget the title right now. But the other part, this is another book, words are used to shape popular opinion and justify legal action and political policy. So people who are rigid with words don't know how to handle a conversation. People who are flexible with words, I might be inaccurate and a bunch more, but I'll know how to be engaged in conversation. Doesn't matter what your political belief is, religious, I won't give a shit. And if someone gives a shit about my shit, again, those who betray us lecture to keep lecturing. I'm bored with it. I want to leave now, but I learned how not to do this because now I need to put up with it. Otherwise, I'm going to hear the mouthful of, oh, you don't think you're right. And it's, no, I don't think I'm right. I don't like the way you're coming at it because you're not really curious about having a conversation. It's not a conversation. It's a boring interaction. And that's where the immature people, though, all they want is love. They don't want to work, like Patrick Chan points out. I don't need to shame them into work because they won't go work. Okay, so savior complex people. Everyone wants the world to be a better place. Let's make the world a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, I'm going to cry. 3-year-olds, where are you? Where's my whole 3-year-olds? That's who's going to save the world because we're not saviors. We just want the same thing everybody else wants. Can I have a hug? That's all we want. So we will get there. And I know some people don't like to hear, but when we're getting there, our species continues to get there. There's not the end game yet. That's going to happen when it happens. When I got off of planet Earth, it was all calm. The person who twisted the story told it the end of the world to a friend of mine who's like, she's spiritual. And she didn't tell me about this astral travel thing, the end of the world. I was like, it was not the end of the world in the way the person conveyed. And yes, I did tell you about it. Let me remind you how I spoke to you of this very specific incident. And I said, blah, 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 blah. Yes, that's right. So that is why, yes, I did tell you. He didn't know how to convey it because all he heard was the end of the world. And he's in apocalypse brain. And I'm like, not at all. That's not how we leave the planet. We leave very aware that it's time, and that's how we collaborate with other alien galactic beings and species. How many people actually thought there were no aliens? Like, seriously, the whole disclosure, like, wow, let's make it into a fantasy movie. This is how it feels when I'm seeing people like, I'm like, wow, fascinating. So with a growth mindset, you mature emotional pain, and cognitively you welcome change in a way that has you enjoy contemplative moments while standing on steady ground within yourself. About your subjective opinions. So because I'm going to try and do timestamps, forgive me for those of you who are listening, because I know I'm going to repeat it again. That's what I'm going to do. This is my moment at 40 minutes. Wait for it. Here we go. Is life experience the primary source of wisdom? ? My personal take and experience is that you learn from being consistently curious about all that takes place. With a growth mindset, you mature emotional pain, and cognitively you welcome change in a way that has you enjoy contemplative moments while standing on steady ground within yourself about your subjective opinions. Employing dual awareness is helpful in this, as you acknowledge that you have a subjective experience with all that comes your way in life, but that there's also objective aspects that will take place out of your control. You grow comfortable with the lack of capacity to control things, and you allow more flow to partake in your inner and outer experience. Wisdom is shaped through this ventral pivot, safe and secure body, emotional intelligence, and studies self-image, mental mastery, and being yourself. And life is what brings you the experiences. So, if this is not clear, this is your free will. And I know that I talk a lot about different things. I interject it because I never planned to make friends with ignorant people. And I never planned to make friends with emotionally insecure people, because the backstabbing, lying assholes are the same people I met when I was an adolescent. And the minute I realized what adolescents were, I just said, why are you faking it? We're all afraid. We're all vulnerable. We don't have to be mean to each other. This doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to use my hands. That's bad manners, one. And also, I don't need to get violent. I'm not going to hide my tears because you shouldn't be making fun of me. I'm not going to mistrust the entire human species because you don't know how to behave and be honest and genuine. And I'm not going to hide myself and change myself for any of this crap. And I didn't curse at the time. I was very specific with my words. I was very rigorous, organized, the whole split thinking, because all teenagers are that. As I got older, I learned by the time I was 18, never say never. The grown-ups knew some things, and then I started to learn the grown-ups don't know all things. And now I'm a spiritual mystic who's rejected by those who want to tell me they know about evil and devils and demons. Sure, you know what? Keep fucking talking. I'm pissed at all of them because they've betrayed their calling. And when they look at me and think I'm like, I have a clear conscience because I know science. Science is proof. Thank you, Neil deGrasse, for holding the fort down. And they can ridicule me all they want, scientists. I'll respect that. Darwin leaves open the room for growth, as lovely Sadhguru mentions to one of the scientists who says, so Sadhguru, who is an enlightened one from the scientific community? And guess who teaches in a museum Adam and Eve and not Darwinism? And guess what I think of those human beings called parents who one day I'll say, knock, knock. Hey, so listen, the sun, it's a star. You say you love your children, right? You created them, didn't you? You've born them in an earth that you're not taking care of. All this great stuff. Yeah, keep talking. In the meantime, trying not to be a judgmental asshole, can we take the children you love off the planet because we're leaving? Like, it's going to happen. We're leaving. It's going to be an excruciating, painful thing. And that is the moment of truth. Are we going to, as a collective, decide to do something that some people think we shouldn't? I don't know. I have not gotten that far. But what I do know is that that's not spirituality. That's not God's work. Those are people who are carrying a story from the ancestry time and seem to not notice that they're just placing evil in everything that is different. And then it reminds me of Elvis when they cut his legs off from the TV. And it's not TV alone that is shit at this point. Even all of social media and everywhere. But it's not that it's shit because it's shit. Is that we got a bunch of people who are epistemically lazy, insecure. They don't know. No, they don't care to find out who they are. They don't want to do the work, and they don't even want to do the intellectual work. And when you meet adolescents who are copying that which are the epistemically lazy ones, it's, oh, that's right, Dharma. That's what we are in, but Dharma is always rebalancing itself. So, free will. I mean, do you think that you are going to have the answer to why you have life motivation. I'm going to go back to circle with our mind and with that which is motivation, because only you can say, I'm worthy to continuously self-regulate, because that's my human capacity. I'm a nervous system and I'm an embodied brain who can do it. And so, is that motivation enough for you to be yourself? If it is, check out PayHip. It has a number of digital products for you, but I understand why people want to live their fantasy stages. I will not choose it. I never have, because I'm a real person. I don't play and fuck around with people's emotions, and I don't play and fuck around with people's time. And when someone thinks I'm not real, I just think, I can't prove you my body, but hey, safety is not just a feeling, safety is the treatment. Stephen Porges, I have safety in my body. So when people think it's fake to be equanimous, I just think it's sad that you're not trying to get there. For better, for worse, for richer, for poor, for sickness and in health, till death do you part. Those words meant something when I got taught them in my good Christian Catholic catechists. Today, as a polyamory, I can be considered a whore by people. And today, as a woman who says, I know what love is, and it isn't about polyamory or monoamory, are you a securely attached, healthy, self-worth individual? If you are, then you'll know what commitment means, because you'll know how to walk a walk and talk a talk, and you'll know how not to shame people who were shamed first, because it's not nice that people get treated the way they do when they're kids. But our parents didn't know about a third attunement, repair and rupture. Now they do. So 50-50, you always roll the dice. Knowledge, it does not deviate us, it empowers us. Those who don't know how to communicate effectively are inflexible, rigid, and they're stupid, and they're annoying. The ones who have their shitty omens, yes, they should get their nervous system first on a board with self-regulating, and then we can talk, because we still have uncertainty. So again, humanity, those who are unclear on how to wield the embodied brain, they don't like all of this. They feel overwhelmed. My friends, when I was sending pictures about the situation with the earthquakes, I said, wait a minute, maybe they will be overwhelmed by this. And I asked, and they're like, yeah, you don't know, but yeah, don't send the pictures. So I don't have bad dreams, and even when I have, I'm not distorting them, because I know about the consciousness sphere, and I know about the angels. I believe in angels, and everyone is one, and God is perfect, not humans. Humans are in flesh. They betrayed their calling. Every time they want to talk to me about a demon or a devil, I say, hey, Patrick McNamara proves there's no demon devil. He actually looks into the religious self and religious, experiences, the self, and how we, go through some process of differentiation, or what was it? Decentralizing. Yes, decentralizing the self. Actually, I know how to explain it really great, but, hey, are you a seeker? Do you want to make the right choice point, or do you want to be lightning and not be love? Because, there's a bunch of people who could use healing, but they don't want to. They think that now the therapists are making a big deal. Everybody has to heal. No, some people are empowering themselves. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. And that's our abundance energy mode. And so when you're empowering yourself, you know that patience is the key to achieving all of that which you wish, and chance favors a prepared mind. So with our species, we're not at a crossroads in the way that some will talk about it, but nature will take its course, and the destiny of all of us is already written. No, it's not. But I have a crystal ball for you. So those choice points are on an individual level, on a country level, and the fickleness, their lack of capacity to deal with change, will reveal itself, and we will notice the pieces falling down, and we will have that which is the truth come forth. But it's not going to be in a way of someone having to go down some path of shame, the way that those who want revenge. But again, projection, let's not do that when we're doing foresight. When we're looking into the future, what we can understand is that by observing each other, we understand when we have a group that doesn't know how to focus due to their lack of interpretation of their own inner world. Those of us who instead know how to focus, we understand how prayers work and how sensitivity works. And so when you do make a decision to head in a specific direction consciously, you will know that it will lead you to luck, because you're not making a choice based on reactivity. You're making it based on your authentic self. Authenticity leads you to be certain with all that is, and that's because you write your own fate and your own destiny, and you do so cautiously. So wisdom is that which is, I cautiously acknowledge with a good gut that I won't ever have all the answers, but I choose what I do because I want to. And I want to because I'm committed. Embodying empowering commitment is really, really fun. Hold on. I want to find a quote for us. And hopefully my video is recording, because yesterday I actually had recorded again this, but my camera didn't do its thing. Okay. And let's see. It's not here. Give me one moment to double check. Okay, so I have lost what I was seeking to read to you all, even though I've read it already once. And it was something along the lines of, once you know how to handle your nervous system, from that Dana quote, then you'll be able to work with that wiring of yours. Okay, so chance is something that we all take, but when you're using precision numerology, luck can find you right at the right time. Even though that is also an illusion, because perception of people all of a sudden making it, it's not real. But spontaneity does continue to get you to pivot. As an entrepreneur, I love all entrepreneurs because, and as a mystic, I love knowing that I don't know everything about my journey, but I know enough to follow that. It's my own breadcrumb of trails. So you follow your own illuminating path because of your commitment to sacred union. Oh, that's right. Those of you who are listening, go to YouTube so you can see the cards, because they came for all of you. Your sacred union is in here. So from nothing to everything, with the whole self and integrated brain, the impossible made possible, meaning that you are possible, I am possible, and the human gift is one of ascension or suffering. Ascension means emotional, mental, physical, embodied resilience, okay? And you are not pretending, you're not faking it. The cloak of Christ, our lovely 5D collective, securely attached people who are understanding what our era is about. Merciful Mother Jamal, we do know how to be merciful and how to create good structures. We move into the future and dissolving that which is the darkness stuff, but it's in a way of letting people understand that when someone wants to talk to us about good and bad and ways of stories of the past and make it into a statement, it's okay, I have a judgmental asshole too. Again, I can get irritated, but when I look out there, I have only one of two groups of people: emotionally mature, mentally mature, or not. And if they're not, then I know what I'm going to spot, because they're not going to actually have stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, micro habit practices in the forefront, so they won't do personal growth or spiritual growth to become regulated, conscious leaders of themselves and of others, and to be supportive, and therefore to know that the objective truth is we have a bunch of people who are corruptible because they began with bad beginnings. They don't know what trust is because they don't know how to trust themselves. When on the other hand, you do know how to trust yourself, you're going to know you're going to get it wrong sometimes, and you're going to get it right sometimes. And that's why you don't actually become convinced. You go and learn from experts, and you continue learning so that you can help all of those who are our lovely brothers and sisters. The less connected you are to what is objectively true, the less likely you are able to make decisions that will benefit your life, the life of your family, even civilization itself. Thank you, Neil deGrasse. And as he says, find objective truths and communicate them to others effectively. And I want to say it doesn't mean they will believe you or hear you, but it is important to try to. So I, to my best, share with you spiritual growth. Personal growth comes because you are, 1, autonomously self-regulating. 2, you have a whole self and you choose to stay steady. 3, candlelights illuminates the damage beneath the feet with wave of lights. That's mine, meaning none of us have walked anyone's path, but we all will have rejection, humiliation, abandonment, betrayal, and injustice happen in our lives. And it's once you put your hand on your heart and know I can be considered crooked by someone, and I can have hurt people's feelings, not on purpose. I do have a judgmental butthole. Again, I have opinions. I have a right to be here, so does another, and I know how to have our world make it a better place, because that's what negotiators and actual smart people do. So if you're successful as a business, you're going to keep on growing a healthy one. If you're faking it, you're going to have a failing community of people who backstab and lie. So again, there's nothing you have to do when people are actually hurting each other, because unfortunately they are in that frequency. So there's different soul age groups, and then there's insecure people who continue with their non-metabolized trauma time. But like I said, it's not an end game, because we all know that they can choose, and we always will continue to evolve and expand. We don't shame our lovely human species into evolving. We all will choose it or not, and we don't shame people into getting out of shame. And we also, wait for it, don't reduce ourselves, our depth, or our conversations on humanity for those who are not ready. So we're not going to minimize the story of us, and we don't have to exaggerate it either. And again, that's the part. In the middle, we walk. Those who don't like equanimity, discernment, or love, well, that's what God is. His timber, he's always guided me well, and he nudges. He's never shouted, pushed. Those who have had shouting stuff, I know where they come from. If you do have curiosity, my story, 14 pages, God is Discerning Equanimous Love. In the book, I'm a co-author of it, The Ways to God. And in the meantime, check out PayHip for those digital products. For those of you who do enjoy, there's a free PDF with the SMART microhabit frameworks, and then there's a one-day guide if you feel called to purchase that. There's also guides, The Regulated Leader, Your Sovereign Blueprint, The Accessible Guide. My lovely life partner gave me that idea. And then more. And check out Substack, since we're growing a community there as well. So thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.